Welcome back to What the Devil, episode 5. Today, it's just Kane and I, and before we get into it, I want to quickly say that the podcast is now available on both Spotify and Apple Music. Links are in the description, so if you want to listen on the go and you can't watch on YouTube, then make sure you head over there. And since we've last recorded, Kane, we have missed a lot. The Surgeon Ratcliffe interview, first thing I'm going to get straight into. It's about an hour of recording with journalists, and I think every single word he said was fantastic.
I could not believe that comment on Sheikh Jassim.
That was so funny.
It was just, there were so many little bits and pieces from those various interviews which he'd done, which just filled a lot of fans with confidence online. And it's nice to see how much enthusiasm he has, because we hadn't really heard much from him before. And you do think he's 71 years old. Does he really have the fight in him to kind of do this project? Seems like he does from those interviews so far.
He's got fire in his belly.
He does, doesn't he?
What I've done is, I trawled through the endless quotes, and I've found what I think are the top 5 quotes that he said. Not necessarily just the jokey ones, but ones that are properly you know what, yes, I like that. So first one is, you need to create this environment in which is driven, competitive, it's going to be intense at times and stressful at times. But equally, it needs to have warmth and friendliness and a supportive structure, because the two things marry together well. They probably haven't had that environment for the last 10 years. I think it's spot on.
It's really honest. That's what I found with a lot of those, and that's another one that... do you remember a few weeks ago, I think it might have been in it was either in his opening statement after it was confirmed just before Christmas, or way back before when he announced his bid. I don't remember which one it was, but where it was kind of reported that the Glazers weren't too happy with his term, the kind of words that he was using. Yeah. He was kind of blaming, and you thought that he might kind of give that up, but it seems that he's still being really honest about the situation at hand. I
have been thinking that some of the things he said, if I was the Glazers, wouldn't be overly happy with what he's been saying, but obviously as a fan, I like it.
It's good that he's keeping that honesty going through. And yeah, I mean, that quote where it's kind of all coming... He speaks quite a lot about the kind of off-field effects. He keeps on going back to our main priority is on the pitch, but throughout those different interviews, it was always linking it to the culture, what Man United are about. And it's kind of... He's a good kind of interviewee. Sorry, he knows the kind of game, doesn't he? Like when he parred off that question when he got asked about Ten Hag, and the interviewer was like, who's to blame for this? And he just parred it off. He knew the game.
He knows well. Second one, this is one I really like, is for me it's not about a financial investment. The objective was to get involved and be influential in the future of Manchester United Football Club. I don't believe I'll ever lose money in it, and I'm not interested. I've put that aside. I'll sit there forever, but I don't see that the club is going to devalue. I don't believe that. In that sense, I don't think I've been financially stupid, but it's not my motivation in life at all. Again, another thing that I think the Glazers wouldn't be happy about, but again, it's kind of, I don't want to say fairy tale, but it's exactly what you want to hear an owner say. You want to say, I will spend £1 billion on this club, but I don't care about making it back, which is so different to the Glazers since they came in 2005.
That flex is mad as well, isn't it? Just being I can spend that.
I've got so much money that I don't need it. Yeah.
But I think it was kind of obvious. I feel like when it was that Qatari versus Ratcliffe battle, some people were one side, some people were the other. But I did find it weird that it was kind of said that Ratcliffe was only in it for the money, and it's he is a very, very wealthy man. It was never going to be about the money. It was just about whether he could kind of do the right things, and so far the opening signs are quite positive.
Yeah. I feel like this sounds like the first 5 minutes of the podcast is just like a
Ratcliffe
propaganda machine. But I said this to you when it got announced. Is initially I was kind of just we'll see what happens. We'll see what the first 6 months or the first 2 months say, and I can't help but feel like he's done everything that I would have wanted. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted him to do, but it's this.
Yeah, and do you know what? I was really happy when... Did you see the Gary Neville kind of news that he's going to help be part of a team for the infrastructure around the stadium, around
I was interested
that area?
in that.
And it's that is the only role which Gary Neville would be good in to bring into the club, because of obviously his history with the hotels, with the kind of how passionate he is about the kind of development around Manchester. And it's like, he's actually bringing in like ex players. If Gary Neville came in a football role, or someone like Rio Ferdinand, etc., if some of those came in football roles, it would be like
disaster.
But you've actually brought in one of those ex-players and gone, oh, he's actually like an expert he's actually an expert in this kind of area right now. So we'll bring him in and help with that. Like, just makes sense.
On the topic of recruitment, next one. I think recruitment in the modern game is critical. Manchester United have clearly spent a lot of money, but they haven't done it as well as some other clubs. Very true. So when I was talking about being the best in class in all aspects of football, recruitment is probably top of that list. And I'm assuming he means recruitment, again, across all levels. It's not necessarily just Manchester United have spent money badly on players, which I think we could spend about 50 minutes going through the list of all the money we've spent and all the players we've bought who just haven't lived up to expectations. But also in upstairs, the whole kind of nicking Omar Barada from City, hopefully obviously nicking Ashworth from Newcastle if Newcastle actually stop crying. And all of that, it's much more of a, like the recruitment, he clearly sees it as a priority and something that Manchester United need, therefore admitting that what's currently at Manchester United isn't good enough, which is what we've been saying for the last decade.
It's really refreshing, isn't it? Because he's done really well so far, but you do think like he did just need to say the right things, which so many fans know. Like when he mentioned about, oh, we need world-class people in world-class positions. We need to make sure that, like he just said the simple things that the Glazers probably don't even know about, but like most fans know that it's not being good enough. And he even mentioned about, oh, they've improved the form recently, but still nowhere near good enough. And it's just like he's saying the easy things, but it just adds
big brownie points.
Yeah, the brownie points at the moment are easy to get for him, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think that's on the other side of the thing. I think he can say, as long as he just says the simple right things, which he's doing, then he's getting those brownie points. It's kind of whether he backs it up. And to be fair with Omar Barada and hopefully Dan Ashworth, I loved his comments on Ashworth as well.
Yeah, they were good. I've not included them, but I like them.
It might. I don't know if that would create more friction with Newcastle. Their supporters are absolutely fuming about it, though.
I've seen Alan Shearer's trying to laugh it off on Twitter as well. He's rattled inside. He's not putting those laughing emojis down on Twitter with a laughing face.
Yeah. No, that's going to be an interesting one to see how their negotiation skills work with that Ashworth deal. But if you bring in both of those guys, then that's backing up all these things that he's saying in the interviews.
Yeah. Another, one thing, obviously, just on the point about negotiations, he said that the negotiations with City were, it seemed fairly amicable. Like he said, the City were disappointed when Omar Barada explained his position, but I think they were amicable. They were like, fair enough, you want to do it, you want to go and do it. It feels like City were treating their employee, even though he was leaving, correctly. Whereas with Newcastle, they're even just not treating Dan Ashworth correctly, or with the respect that I feel he deserves.
I hear that, but then I also do think it's kind of, they're in such different situations because City have that complete structure where they are confident to probably say, he's class, but we'll probably be able to work around it. Whereas Newcastle have got a bit confident, a bit cocky since they've got all the money. They got the best sporting director in. He wants out straight away. And they're probably just thinking like, Jesus, we can't let this go straight away. So they're a bit more in a not as strong position as City. But yeah, they're going to have to compromise because 20 mil just seems ridiculous to me.
It's so much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just on the topic of City, me and my segues, the next Ratcliffe quote is about City and Liverpool, where he says, "They are one of the best teams on the planet," he said about City. "We have a lot to learn from the noisy neighbour and our other noisy neighbour," meaning Liverpool. "They are the enemy at the end of the day, and there's nothing I would like better than to knock them both or one of them off their perch," which feels a bit like a battle cry. That's like the kind of obviously, that's the thing Sir Alex said ages ago. Ten Hag tried to say it with the era's come to an end. And it also feels like the timing's quite good in terms of Klopp leaving at the end of the season. From what I last read, Liverpool want Xabi Alonso, but I think Xabi Alonso wants to go to Bayern. Just
Bayern
from
are
reading
absolute
rumours.
thieves, man.
They really are.
do.
And then Pep's, who knows what's happening with Pep's future? I think, like, it doesn't the current contract end the end of next season.
ASAP.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
timing's good.
Hopefully, it's like I said before. It is kind of, it's the right thing to say, but it's also an easy thing to say. But still, you do like. It's nice to see him have like you said, that fire in the belly a little bit. And obviously, one thing it made clear. I think the two people he loves most are Eric Cantona and Sir Alex. Like, he just seems like proper into that kind of those two.
End of the day, he's a red, isn't he?
Yeah, so. Yeah. And he did clarify that Chelsea as well. There's so many quotes.
There's
but
so much.
He clarified that Chelsea, because obviously he was in for Chelsea, and I don't remember exactly word for word, but he essentially just said, United's different.
Different gravy.
It's different, which you can't fault him for everything he's said so far, because it's tick, tick, tick. And it's kind of going through the same things, but so far it's looking good with what he's saying, and he's backing it up at the moment. But the next few weeks are going to be interesting, because now it's finally over the line. They were doing bits and pieces before, obviously getting Barada in, which they probably weren't solely responsible for, but a lot of behind-the-scenes work. But now they're actually fully in. I'm expecting there to be a lot of room for just random little changes. Because even like Brailsford's going through every bloody staff member he's probably talking to the canteen ladies as we speak. Like, it seems like they're proper invested and going for.
They have put a 1.3 billion quid investment into it. Although Sir Ratcliffe has said, it's not about money for him. They don't want to lose 1.3 billion. They're going to want to make sure that their investment stays at least at that value, and then hopefully in the future it goes up.
Yeah. Yeah,
the value of the club.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's exciting, and when you think that he's done more interviews than the Glazers probably have in almost 20 years, like
that's a good point.
It's a madness, and hopefully he just continues, because I think that kind of fans actually knowing the bloke who owns is running your club. I just think it's important, and that's Ratcliffe doing these interviews, even on a semi-regular basis, would be nice.
Yeah, it's key.
Yeah.
And just one final quote. This is a long one, so bear with me.
Oh, lovely.
It is not a light switch, talking about improving the club. It's not one of these things that changes overnight. We have to be careful we don't rush it in a way. You don't want to run the wrong solution rather than walk. You don't want to run to the wrong solution rather than walk to the correct solution. Oh, it's like poetry.
That's cold.
We have two issues. One is longer term, getting Manchester United to where we would like to see it, but there's also the shorter term of getting the most out of the club as it stands today, because we would like to be in the Champions League for next season if we can. The key challenge here is that longer term.
Yeah, it's because I keep on going to the same drum, but he's saying the right things, but also he's not going over the top. That's a really honest and grounded response. Like, he could have easily hired expectations to try and get some extra brownie points, but he is being realistic. Like, it is a big job for them. Like, everything is every manager, loads of signings have failed. There needs to be complete change behind the scenes, and with them in charge of it, it's not going to be a flick of a switch, like he said. So yeah, it's nice to see that he's kind of not overconfident or over kind of optimistic that it's just going to change like that, because he's a businessman. He's a businessman, and he knows sport now, because obviously there are other ventures.
I feel like so many times in obviously recent history, I think United have tried to do that almost overnight change. You bring in Jose Mourinho and you give him Ibrahimovic, you give him Pogba, you give him this, and the next time you give him Lukaku, you give him this, and it ultimately just unwinds and fails. I feel like United have tried to not necessarily run to the wrong solution, as he said, but they've just tried to rush to the first solution they can think of, which may be right, may be wrong. They do it too quickly, and he seems to be taking his time. How much of it do you think is scripted? I was thinking about this earlier, because some of the things he says is great. Obviously he's probably quite a well-educated man.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you know as well? one more thing on Ratcliffe, which I think is mental. With his United interview, I was watching it earlier. He done like a super marathon, like in his mid-60s, 2 of them.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He was saying about he's done over 30 marathons and 2 super marathons in it, and he said that they were both in his 60s.
Isn't a super marathon like 100?
It's like
kilometers or
880,
something?
I think, something like that. So we've.
I can barely run 5k.
If he can do that, surely he can help United get better, because in your 60s is mental.
He's a cool guy, and we're now clearly Sir Ratcliffe's 2 #1 fanboys.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can't help but get giddy at it, get excited at it. We deserve to be excited.
Yeah, obviously you've got to have a level of, right, now walk the walk kind of thing. But I feel like almost 20 years with the Glazers. I've known Glazer ownership basically my entire life, like since I've started supporting United.
Same.
It'll be nice to, like
Something
I said,
new.
get more actual communication, have someone that you know actually has their best intentions for the club. I think it was nice as well what he said about how we don't own the club. Myself and the Glazers, we don't own the club. The fan, we're just kind of along for the ride, but the fans are the real owners. So yeah, he said he knows the game. He knows how to talk the talk. Hopefully he can walk the walk as well.
This week we're going to be playing a new game called Manchester United Draft 11. Essentially, Kane and I are going to pick our favourite Manchester United 11s, but once one of us picks a player, the other person then can't pick them. Obviously, we have to decide who goes first, and we also can't pick the same formations. So we're going to play a game of rock, paper, scissors to decide who picks formation first and who picks the players first. Going on shoot, yeah, ready?
Right, come on then.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All
Right, I'm going to pick players first, so you can pick your formation first.
I'll go 4-3-3 then.
All right, I'll go 4-2-3-1. Is that too
No,
similar?
no,
Is
no,
that
you're not
too
allowed to
similar?
do that. You're not
All
allowed
right,
to do that.
I'll go 4-4-2.
Proper Brexit.
Right, yeah. So I get to pick a player first. I'm gonna pick. Where is he? Where's Andre Onana?
Oh,
Andre Onana, there you are.
Andre Onana.
Onana's
you
my
not-
keeper.
I like
Oh no,
Onana,
we're gonna go this
but
way. So Onana's in goal for me.
okay.
You can pick
Well,
any player, by the way. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I'm not going to go goalkeeper yet. Well, one, because I've got a free pick. I want, not him, I want Kobbie Mainoo. Yeah, I feel like that's a much better choice. I can't lie. Wait, stick him on the right, because right.
Right, my next choice then, I'm going for big Rasmus Højlund.
Fair enough.
I think he's my favourite United player at the moment.
Yeah, I can see
Absolute goat.
that. Ooh,
Keeper and a striker.
There's no point for me to go keeper though yet, because you're not unless you're playing Bayender in left wing. Right now, I'll go Garnacho on the right. I reckon we're going through. We've got the 3 young.
I'm playing. I'm gonna go slightly rogue. I'm gonna go because I'm going 4-4-2. I'm gonna put Mason Mount at right centre mid. Yeah.
Probably would have ended up picking Mount. I will go next up. Oh, I just took Mainoo out. There you go. I will go Rashford on my left. So I've got my wingers sorted. Oh.
Hey, you've picked him.
Yeah, I'm just thinking whether Rashford. I can change his
You're
position.
you're locking that in because I want to make sure I get Casemiro.
Yeah, I was thinking Casemiro.
Mount Casemiro is my 2 midfield. My midfield 2.
So have you got one more than me yet? Or yeah, you've got 4.
Yeah.
I got 3.
I picked first.
Yeah. Let's see who else. I'm trying to think of like who else is in the bloody team. Like,
Just to qualify, loan players are in this, like Sancho and Van der Beek and stuff. Otherwise, we won't have enough players.
Matt, wait. Oh, Leacher's not been picked.
Damn it.
I'll go Leacher. So we've got 4 each so far. So I've got Martinez in my defence, Rashford and Garnacho on my wings, and Kobbie Mainoo in my midfield.
I've got my spine. I've got Casemiro and Mount in midfield, Rasmus up front, and Onana at left back, at goalkeeper. And at left back, I'm going with Luke Shaw.
Not bad, yeah. Yeah, that's not too bad. I'm trying. Oh man, I keep on clicking this wrong bit. Right. We'll go... Do you know what? I'm going to go Diego Dallo at right back. I think it's quite even at the moment.
I'll go Wan-Bissaka
Player-wise.
to lock up your Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. Do you know what? No one's picked Bruno Fernandes yet. And even though even though there's controversy,
I've got to sort my wingers out.
Bruno in there. I think that's not too bad.
I need... Oh, you know what? Assuming he was fit, because I miss him so much. Anthony Martial is my other striker. So I'm going 4-4-2, so I've got Højlund and Martial up top.
He's done me there because now I don't have a striker to go to. We're gonna have to make it creative, I reckon. I'll lock up my midfield. I'm actually just gonna go Amrabat since you've got Mount and Casemiro there. I think that's like the main player that I can choose there. I might be missing someone, but yeah, I'll lock in Amrabat.
Fair enough. My next signing is going to be the one...
You've knocked someone out there, I think.
Who have I just got rid of?
Did you have someone left wing?
No.
I don't know, it might be...
Well, I'm going to bring in... Where is he? Raphael Varane.
Oh, I was going to choose him.
Beauty. Raphael Varane, right centre-back.
Yeah, that's not too bad, is it? I'm going to go Maguire then and lock up that defence. So I've got... The teams are starting to come together. It's just I need a striker.
So we've got 3 picks left.
I forgot that we've only got 2.
I need left centre-back and both my wingers. Left centre-back. I can pick Lindelof or Evans. Yeah. I'm going to go with Lindelof. Sorry, Johnny.
Johnny Evans' performances this season, mate. That's bold. I'd choose Johnny if I didn't have one of those. I mean, Scott McTominay is essentially a striker with his goal scoring. Do you know what, I might have to go... Oh, this is actually a bit painful. I don't really want to have to choose... This is difficult because I don't really want to choose Anthony. Is San... do you know what? I'm the manager here, and somehow I've got Sancho working hard, and since he's not on loan, this is pure... I don't think there's a better way to make this work, but I'll move Rashford up front for me and have Sancho on this left. Mate, I'm giving you the left wing, so do some work, because he wants to be on that left.
So I need my 2 wingers. I'm going to go...
You've not got many choices, mate.
I really don't. Who do I have?
Anthony.
I've got Anthony, Donny Eriksson, Johnny Evans and Scott McTominay left, and I've got to fill my winger positions. But you
might, to be fair...
You see, I'm really tempted to take Tyrell Malacia, so you can't put my left back.
Oh, that's going to be... Do you know what, honestly, helping you out a little bit, I would, if I was you, I'd probably bring in some Ericsson or McTominay and move Mount wide, maybe. Unless you want to keep him in there, but just a suggestion.
For now, I'm going to bring in Anthony. I'm going to put him on the left wing.
Oh.
Because I can't stand Anthony cutting on his left foot. If I've got 2 strikers, Martial and Højlund playing, I want Anthony out wide if he can cross, but no one knows actually if he can or not.
Yeah,
so you've got your left back still to pick.
Isn't there? Yeah, I mean, where is he? There it is, Malacia. I'll go Malacia.
Tyrell Malacia.
Hopefully he turns up. Hopefully he's fit.
Hopefully he's still around. And I'm going to do what you suggested. Mason Mount on the right, and I'm going to...
Oh.
What have you done?
Oh, you've done my... Yeah, I was
you
trying...
You can have Amrabat back.
Yeah, cheers, go on. I won't touch.
And then I'm going to put... Oh. No, Mason Mount still in the middle. I'm going to put Ericsson on the right. Because...
You think he has the legs for that?
Well, do I think he has the legs for on the right versus do I think he has the legs to play with just Casemiro in the middle?
Yeah.
I would rather these 2 play in the middle, him on the right, than Eriksen and Casemiro as the only people in midfield, and then Mount on the right.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, my team, Andre Onana in goal. Back four of Luke Shaw, Victor Lindelof, Rafael Varane and Wan-Bissaka. Midfield four, because I went 4-4-2, with Anthony on the left, Casemiro, Mount, and then Eriksen on the right wing. Then a front two of Rasmus Højlund and Anthony Martial.
And I need to add my keeper. Hopefully he's here somewhere.
Not gonna lie, he's not there.
Is he not there? Right, let's just pretend Bayinder's here, because I choose him over Heaton.
I'll let you off on that one.
And my team, Malacia left back, Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire, Diego Dallo. I'd say I've got the strong. Oh, I don't know. Both of our defences are quite good. Kobbie Mainoo and Amrabat in midfield with Bruno Fernandes ahead of them. Sancho, that's going to rattle some people. Sancho left. I didn't have many options. Sancho left, Rashford centre forward, and Garnacho right wing. I'm a bit gutted that you got Højlund ahead of me.
I think my team win this.
Honestly, I think it's an even game. I think my front three, even if Sancho... Right, let's just compare my front three my front four to your front four. I've got Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho, and then hopefully a Sancho with my man management abilities. I've got him firing. You've got Martial, Højlund, Anthony and Eriksen providing
I've got creativity, bro. Anthony Martial was a creative striker. Christian Eriksen can create if he's got legs. Mason Mount, he's not that bad. Casemiro, I don't know. Anthony, depends on if he's crossing. I still think I win this. But let us know in the comments which team you think won, what changes would you have made. And we're gonna put a tweet out on United District as well, so you can comment on there on which team you think won. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe didn't really have much of an impact on the January transfer window. So at United, it was just, exit. We saw the various loan deals. And we also saw Sergio Reguilon leave, which I personally think, at the time I was annoyed, even though Shaw was coming back, there had been news on Malacia potentially returning maybe in January. But I was still annoyed that we got rid of him because I didn't understand. To me, there was no positive benefit of him going. Yeah. I think even though we were paying his wages. And then 6 weeks later, Tyrell Malacia is still nowhere to be seen. And Luke Shaw's injured again for the 3 months. I think it was such a mistake to get rid of him. I
want to know how bad of a butch job that first surgery for Malacia was, because how he's been out since before pre-season. Like, it was just before pre-season.
Yeah, the last game he played was against Fulham.
It's hard, really, because can you predict that it will go that badly for Malacia? Like, I guess in January, this is just playing devil's advocate as well, because I think it would have been a good idea to either bring Fernandes back and keep him for the rest of the season and then maybe assess his situation in the summer, or keep Reguilon. But it is kind of like Shaw was fit or just coming back to fitness. Malacia was meant to be back soon, and Dallo can play both sides. So I feel like it is quite unlucky. Like, it's just a chain of events. Wan-Bissaka, I do hate how we just know nothing about our player injuries. Malacia has been gone for almost a year, and it's like, yeah, he's injured.
I think only the other day it was said that it's a knee ligament problem.
I think it was only when people started questioning it more post-Christmas, and then they did say knee. But it's such limited information that it's hard. Like, Mason Mount's out for has been out for God knows how long, and I don't think anyone knows that injury. It's quite strange, but yeah, the left-back situation is a bit of a worry now, because can we get top four? Like, everyone wants top four, but can you get it with no fit left-back? And I like Lindelof. I think he can be good in the right situations, but he stinks at left back.
He can't play left back.
He stinks at left back, which is really worrying. Amrabat might be tried there. I mean, I feel like he played okay there in a couple of games, but then also got skin. It depends with him if he's able to actually just come into the midfield and kind of play that inverted role.
A bit like Dallo on the other side.
Which is annoying, because I think Dallo's perfect at that role. I think he's better at that role than sticking wide. So whoever we play at left back, really, unless Dallo plays there, he's probably going to be having to stick out wide and kind of keep that balance if Amrabat or Lindelof tucks inside.
Yeah, I just feel like getting rid of considering the season that United have had so far with the 17,
Injuries.
18 injuries, surely they must have been so confident that Malacia was going to come back before the end of the transfer window, because we didn't even get rid of Reguilón towards the end of the window. It was like a week and a half in. We were just kind of like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you can go. He didn't seem to want to leave.
It was an early
He was
decision.
happy. We'd spoken to him a couple of times on private messages, and he seemed really happy.
Yeah.
At United, he was enjoying it. There was no kind of indication that he wanted to go.
It was also, I thought and I'm not comparing quality here, but that kind of Herrera sort of player where it does seem like he was giving
He just seemed happy to be
absolutely
there,
everything.
yeah.
Quality-wise, there were some situations where, okay, you can tell why he's been loaned out to tens of clubs, but he had the energy levels, even when he was only coming into the team every 3 or 4 games. He did have that one spell of prolonged games, but there wasn't. I don't really see. I do kind of see your point. There's not many reasons why he should have left. I know that we got kicked out of 2 competitions, so it's maybe it might have been a thing where you think
we're only really playing once a week.
Yeah, he can maybe play more football elsewhere, but it might bite us in the backside because
I really think it will. I'm really worried now.
I just don't know who you play that. I've seen some shouts for Willy Cambuala to play either left back or right back with Dalot. I would rather keep Dalot at right back because I don't believe. One of the things I don't believe in is just because one position's poor, you mix it up too much. Obviously, Dalot can play there, but I think he's playing really well on the right. So I don't see why you might affect a second position, if you get what I mean. You're then affecting right back as well, where Dalot's pretty comfortable there right now. He's having a really good run of games in good form. So I wouldn't personally move him there, but I could see maybe Willy Cambuala playing there, or Amrabat, but I don't want to see Lindelof there, mate. That's I think that's my one.
Lindelof didn't look great. What was it, against Luton he came on?
He is recently
Was it Luton
back.
and Villa? He both came on at left back.
Yeah, I think Villa's the one where he was getting cooked.
Yeah.
But that is also, he's also fresh back from injury, so it's a hard situation for him to come back into, I think. You think fresh back from injury and you're playing against, was it Diaby, I think, on the left, tricky.
Yeah.
You're a centre back and you're drifting out wide, fighting 1v1s. It was hard, but I still, even if he kind of finds a little bit of form, I don't think it's where he's meant to be.
The idea that United had at the time, Luke Shaw just come back from injury, fresh, and we know Luke Shaw several times has had moments where he's been injured, come back, and then got injured again. It's like a recurring, at least somewhat recurring.
That's a conversation to have as well.
You had Shaw that was like that. Malacia was not actually back yet, and then we had Alvaro Fernandez that we've loaned out.
Is that
and we only had one fit left back, and we decided to get rid of 2 more. In Fernandez going out on loan and then cancelling Reguilón's loan.
Loan, yeah.
Just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It's just the decision making that I just can't wrap my head around it. Also, kind of because I quite like Reguilón, so I didn't want him to go. But
I think as well, I absolutely love Luke Shaw, but I think there's got to be a conversation to be had there now, because he has missed a lot. Even though
this is his second 3-month injury this season.
You can't argue his, well, some people do, but I don't think you can argue his quality when he's fully fit. And also, I don't think you can fully blame him when he's come off at half time with what seems to be a muscle injury one game, and then he plays the next game and comes off with with what seems to be the exact same problem. That's not strictly his fault, but also you can't deny that this isn't it's going on too long. There's always injury troubles, and if you don't have a fit, I guess it's what side of the coin you're on, because some would probably say if you had a fit and good enough deputy, he wouldn't have needed to get back fit for that Luton game. He probably could have sat it out and maybe gained some fitness before the upcoming month. But then also you can go, he's getting injured no matter the kind of situation. He's getting injured too much. It's
hard to keep, I want to say backing, but it's hard to keep kind of saying, no, Luke Shaw will become if it keeps continuing. Because you've got to have a point where you'd rather have a 7 out of 10 left back for 58 out of 60 games than a 10 out of 10 left back for 30 out of 60 games.
Yeah.
You need sustainable people. That's why, like, Bruno Fernandes, for all his ups and downs at the club, he is available pretty much every single week. I think he's missed one game through injury and one game through illness. It has to be commended how reliable he is.
Yeah, it's all about availability is underrated.
It's the most important. Surely it's the most important basic thing a footballer needs is to be available.
Yeah, but then also it is kind of, another argument is the amount of football being played right now. Like, if you are in all four competitions, you're playing 60 games a season if you get far in them. I don't think a lot of players, even if they're like not injury prone, like they still might not be able to play that amount, because you think United legends, like some of the best players probably were playing, especially when you think kind of the class in the squads, you were probably playing 40, 45 kind of games a season, maybe they were pushing 50, but not,
I think
not the
season,
amount
United
right now.
We got to every final, bar the Europa League. I think United played about 63 games last season.
Which I don't think people speak about enough as well. I think
Coupled with 8 pre-season games.
But you look at Liverpool when they were going for the quadruple and they failed to get the 2 relevant ones, apart from Carabao Cup. Obviously, next season was quite relevant. But they dropped off a cliff the start of that next season. And a lot of people were saying it's because they were going for the quadruple, there was loads of games. But I don't see that argument for this United squad as much. But obviously, there's other like you can't just put it down to that. But that is probably part of a reason behind one of the moving parts of why we've been underperforming, underwhelming this year. Because how much football a lot of those players played last year.
I just think that is just, in my head, another argument for why having 3 left backs
probably
wouldn't have been the worst idea in the world. I just don't get it. I think it was a mistake to stop his loan.
Yeah, I liked it.
Obviously, hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
But even at the time, I was just like, what? There's no reason to get rid of him. There's no benefit apart from monetary benefit if he's off the wage books. There's no benefit for him not being in that squad week in, week out.
I see that.
We did, now we have no left back.
And the problem is that I wouldn't really say, to be fair, I'm not watching the under-21s football too much, but I wouldn't really say that we've got a 21s player who's ready to maybe come in and be on the bench and kind of help out there. No. We've got Harry Amas. I know a lot of you have probably heard of him, but he's not ready. He's 16. He's not Wayne Rooney. He's not like a built 28-year-old man in a 16-year-old body. Like
we need. Where's our Borthwick Jackson once again?
Yeah, but
a man with the best cross I've ever seen in my life.
I've seen so much Harry Amas kind of like hype, and I love him. I think he's really good, and he's quite similar to Luke Shaw in like his style of play. But the kid's 16. He's not even touched 21s football. He only moved to United at the start of the season, so I'm 99.9% sure he is not going to even touch a squad. Like it would be impressive. It would be impressive for him to touch the squad this season, considering the injuries.
He was only in training with them for the first time the other week, wasn't he?
Yeah, and people think that he's in training, that means he's going to play. I think it was Dan Gore where it came out that he was consistently in the first team squad training, like at high levels for 4 months before he got his debut. Yeah, and he was. I think he's 19? I think he's either 18 or 19. But yeah, like the difference between 16 and 18 and 19 is mad. Like for those kind of youth players. So let's hold out on expectations for him right now.
It's just a bit of a mess. I think it'll cost us this. I think it'll cost us Champions League football.
It could do.
I do. As much as, we're 3 points behind Spurs, 5 behind Villa. Villa and Spurs are playing each other in a couple of weeks, I believe. This is big, and
I think it's mainly whether we get into the top 4 or not. I think does just depend on how well Højlund, Garnacho, Rashford can just continue actually be in form. Because I think that our defence this season just has been dodgy for a lot of points. Hopefully Varane and Maguire can stay fit together so they can build a partnership till the end of the season. But I think that our defence will not be great with a left back or without kind of thing. So I think as long as those attacking players like kind of keep actually performing well and finishing their chances, then I think we've still got a chance. But it does I think it does lower because if you've got, especially
we're not odds on at all.
Yeah, if he's playing Lindelof there, banging that drum a little bit, but I just don't think he's good. He's at all good enough to play left back. Maybe put him right back, but then even then, who did we get? I remember was it the PSG game when we won? I'm trying to think when Rashford scored the extra time penalty. Was it No, it might have been Bailly actually, who was getting cooked, and we had to change formation or make a sub early on.
It was Bailly.
It might have been, but no, there's definitely a worry there. So we'll see how United deal with it. But it's literally we've not had 2 fit natural left backs throughout the entire season.
Something we missed last week. Top Devil. But Kane's not had his go yet, and he's going to have his go this time. I'm going to read out the rankings so far, see what we got. So we've got Yusuf. Oh no, it was Yusuf who did it last week. Yeah, he was good. He got 13. Flex second highest on 10. Nick on 9. Marcel on 7, and Rich on 3.
as long as Rich.
So what score would you be happy with?
Do you know what? Honestly, I don't know whether I could challenge you. I don't know how much you're going to be honest. So I'm going to stay quiet as long as I get above sort of 7, because I know that you say dumb things in this position. So I just want to admit the amount of dumb things I say. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Trafford is situated on what road?
Sir Matt Busby Way.
Which 2 teams have United previously defeated 0?
Southampton and Bournemouth.
Ipswich. Which brothers played for Man United?
Fabio and Rafael da Silva.
Name 3 class of 92 players.
Roy, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Beckham.
Good. Who is United's oldest ever player?
Edwin van der Sar.
Correct. Who is United's second all-time top goal scorer?
Andy Cole?
No, Bobby Charlton.
Well.
Why is David Gaspard significant at Manchester United?
Pass.
Youngest ever player. 2 stands are named after which people?
Sir Alex Ferguson, Sir Bobby Charlton.
Good. Who has the most penalties for Manchester United scored?
Rooney.
Ronaldo. Who is United's current number 22?
It's not Onana. Pass.
Tom Heaton. Is Amad Diallo the first ever Manchester United, first ever player to play for Ivory Coast for Manchester United?
Yes.
No. Eric Bailly, bro. How many loans have Eric Ten Hag transferred in so far?
Sorry?
How many loans has Eric Ten Hag transferred in?
6.
5. How many Premier League goals did Ronaldo score when he broke the record for most in a season?
42.
31. Who is
in the Premier League.
Who was the last captain of Manchester United before Harry Maguire?
Ashley Young.
Correct. What is Brian Robson's nickname?
Pass. I've literally...
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, scared.
Did Sir Alex Ferguson want to be United's number before David Beckham?
Roy Keane.
Maybe that one. Who crossed more, Bruno Fernandes or Lisandro Martinez?
Bruno.
Correct. Which player had a chant labelling him the greatest ever player in the Premier League?
Rooney. Pass.
Juan Mata. What is the current of Old Trafford? And we're done.
It's actually so much. I said some dumb things there.
Yeah, really did.
I think the Rooney Charlton one was the worst, but how did I get?
8.
That's
all right. That's all right.
With that. There were some stinkers.
It's you, 1 below Nick, 1 above Marl.
Don't judge me. It's hard when you're like the lights are shining.
I'm doing it so far.
We're gonna make sure deals it soon.
We got good next week.
Yeah. When it's just us two, maybe we'll switch and I'll prep some questions.
Do remember to tune in next week. Slightly unexpected, but hopefully very good for you guys. So Flex isn't on this week, unfortunately. We missed him. However, he's been saying some stuff which I've been thinking is a little bit outrageous, a little bit over there, and he's effectively suggested that Bruno Fernandes should be dropped.
Flex.
I kind of understand where he's coming from. Bruno's productivity has gone down. He and also other players in the United squad, it's not just him, but making some pretty stupid like minor decisions that can have major effects. So, for example, against Luton, he took a shot from a weird angle in like the 93rd minute, and Luton then went up, got a corner, hit the crossbar, and then I think got one more chance before the end of the game. And him not taking that shot, keeping the ball, rotating, passing it back to Onana and everything, would have stopped Luton getting 2 extra chances. And we got away with it that game. But there have been other games. One that sticks in me in mind is Memphis against Chelsea in years ago, where he was kind of playing around in the Chelsea penalty area, lost the ball, they then equalised, and we drew 1-1 when we were 1-0 up.
Even the Wolves game though, Cobby saved us, but
that's true.
We should have dealt with
2 goals up with 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago.
Our game management has been poor for as long as I can. I feel like under Ollie it was poor in a lot of games, and it's just continued. Some of the play, you do just think how Bruno is making that decision. I think it was Rich Fay, Manchester Evening News journalist, actually highlighted all of the options which he had, and there was about 8 or 9. I think there was a player near the corner flag. He could have ran towards the corner flag himself. Kobbie Mainoo was there. I think Shaw or was that? Yeah, I think Shaw was playing, or whoever else was left back. He had so many options, and he opted for that. But also, it's not just Bruno doing that. I think that our overall game management, just for most of the players, is poor.
The first 2 things to go when you're tired are 1, your touch, and then 2, your IQ.
Yeah.
And I feel it just happens every game at the moment. It seems United players are making these just weird decisions in the last few minutes. And what I was going to say is, to entertain this for a second, who should Ten Hag start instead of Bruno from who's available? Just hypothetically, Bruno Fernandes
gets injured for the first time in his life.
His ACL goes. Right now, obviously, Mount isn't back. So what should United do?
The most popular one would probably be McTominay coming in, wouldn't it? Because
either to replace Bruno or someone else to move higher up and he would sit back?
I would probably argue, I'd probably put him the highest forward. But then one thing I've noticed when McTominay was starting games is that he does because when he's playing attacking midfield, his role is to find those spaces in the box to try and score goals. And he did, when he was starting a lot of games, he was kind of getting in Højlund's spaces a little bit. So I don't know if that would affect, because Højlund's on fire right now, whether that would affect his game as well. So that's something to consider. Who else is there? Ahmad maybe could play.
The one thing that I think would be quite fun would be to see Ahmad play. Obviously, he's barely played. I think it would be good to see him play there, but also it's a risk because he's not really played for United, at least since he's come back from Sunderland.
And just playing central is harder than playing. I'd say him playing in the 10 is a harder role for him than out wide, especially in the Premier League. And like you said, when he's barely played any games. I'm trying to think, is there anyone else? Do you remember, Ten Hag's gone rogue with some of his number 10. If this did happen, he has gone rogue. Weghorst has played there before. Obviously, Sancho played there a little bit in pre-season. Who's a rogue one that might suit that? I mean, Ahmad might be, but
Kobbie at 10.
I think Kobbie could do it as well. It's just mainly you're losing what he does deeper.
You're losing what he gives you behind, yeah.
Yeah, that's why if McTominay was the one to replace Bruno, even though it could affect Højlund, I think I'd prefer him there than Kobbie Mainoo, just because I think what he does deep. Is Eriksen fit?
I think he is.
Yeah,
we forgot about Christian. Yeah,
we could play our the number 10 Christian Eriksen for the first time. I mean that would be
he's never really played there for us.
For us, and obviously that's where he was best known for playing for Spurs and very good there. I literally haven't even.
I think he is fit.
He must. Yeah,
I think he is fit, but I think he's
been on the bench.
He's behind. Bruno will never be dropped.
And
probably.
Deeper now, it's you got Kobbie and Casemiro.
Yeah, and you got Casemiro and Kobbie who are both playing well.
And probably Amrabat's ahead of him, in Ten Hag's eyes.
Maybe, yeah. But just back to Bruno Fernandes' future. I think it was it last week? I think Flex was saying, I believe it was Flex, was saying that Fernandes potentially isn't actually the ideal captain for Manchester United.
Well, it might have been Flex. I don't want to push it on Flex if
whoever it was saying it, someone was saying it. Yeah, just about the fact that...
I think it was Yusuf.
Maybe it was Yusuf. But basically, the point is like there is starting, like cracks are starting to appear a little bit on kind of Bruno Fernandes, and I'm still a firm believer that he's the best person for the role right now at the club. I don't believe that contextually there isn't. I wouldn't really give it to anyone else at the moment. I just can't think of anyone else there apart from you can't really give it back to Harry Maguire. That we've been there, didn't work. But I just feel like there are some cracks starting to show with Fernandes. Not necessarily with him, but with how people's attitude towards him. Because he was the saviour when we signed him in 2020, 4 years ago. He was the saviour. He was fantastic. He was brilliant. He was central to everything. But he's becoming less central to United now because we're starting to whenever Lisandro Martinez can play, a lot of kind of the back six is based around kind of Lisandro Martinez, I'd say, more than anyone else, and Onana. And then up the front, everything's starting to be geared towards Rasmus Højlund. It kind of feels like the centre with Fernandes, he's being not lost a little bit, but there's just the focus isn't necessarily on him as much.
Yeah, his role's changed. It's changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I do find it quite funny because people are saying this is probably Bruno's not playing his best football right now. And what kind of style are we playing? We're playing this transition-heavy football, which some people say that's the only kind of football Bruno can play. I think he's actually better when there is more of a settled play. He can have those games where he just, for some reason, looks for it absolutely every time. But those are usually games where an Aston Villa game. I think he was doing it against Aston Villa, but it is like it's probably instructed because of how high their line is, how much threat you can cause if you get a couple of those right. So it's hard with Bruno because I think he can play the kind of football that people want to see from the team, but I think he's just doing what either he's being told or because of the players around him, because of the football we're playing, he's just naturally doing that because that's what he knows in those situations. So,
admittedly, I've not really looked at this, but is he playing a bit further back now?
It mixes, doesn't it? But I think he was.
His instructions seem to. I don't know if his instructions have changed or whatever, but it feels like he's maybe playing a little bit further back. His instructions are now more to get the ball out wide to the wingers because we seem to have a lot of wing play. Through Garnacho, through Rashford when he plays, and through Anthony when he did play. It feels like his instructions now are not necessarily to get the ball to Højlund, but to get the ball out wide, so then they can then get the ball to Højlund. But it means that he therefore sits a bit further back to be able to make that pass kind of in towards the final third, rather than being in the final third and making the final pass to the striker.
Yeah, he's not really.
I might be waffling completely, but
I see where you're coming from, and I think I mentioned it the other week, but he's still not built that relationship with Højlund because of the kind of things you're mentioning. He doesn't really have that direct link to him, and whether that's his fault or the fault of the style, it's probably a little bit of both maybe, because there are points where Bruno can probably play to Højlund and just doesn't. Maybe it is instruction based, you don't entirely know. But yeah, his role is a little bit confusing now, I would say. Obviously, you can't fault what he does out of possession, even though maybe you can fault the way in which he presses, but his energy levels you can't fault. And yeah, he will produce, but I think it's also just to do with the entire team not really being geared towards playing consistent football like it is. That's transition. I think that's one of Bruno's problems, the transition-heavy football, which is ironic because I think everyone thinks that's where he excels, but I don't think it is.
I'd be interested to see how we would play without him. I think ultimately it actually probably won't be as good as we play with him. For all kind of his ups and his downs, I think ultimately we are better off with him in the team. However, I would actually be quite interested to see what would happen if he didn't play.
Yeah, but also on playing devil's advocate, across the years, people have said that. Since Bruno's come in, he's maybe missed a game now and then, and United haven't played amazingly in it. But then also, I wouldn't like to see it because that would mean he'd get a longer-term injury or something. But it would be interesting to actually see how United dealt with it over a sustained period of time, because most of the time when Bruno came out of the team, it was Donny van de Beek coming in for one game every 2 months and a completely different kind of midfielder to Bruno. And United were so used to playing with Bruno that they play one game with this other guy who's completely different and then not play well. He wouldn't play well. United probably wouldn't do amazingly because of that. And then it would be the opinion, oh, look at us without Bruno. I'd like to see if it was more a sustained period so then you actually get used to that. Because he's been so key that you take a key player out and bring a player in who offers completely different things, it's going to be a lot different and you're probably going to struggle at first. But it'd be interesting to see how it would work out over a longer period of time. But yeah, you never know. And Bruno, you can't be in the middle these days. Bruno's either amazing or absolutely rubbish. It's obviously somewhere in between right now, but he's not doing amazing, but he's not as bad as some people make out that he is.
Yeah, so the final thing, would you keep him in the team?
I would, yeah, till the end.
Okay.
You keep him in the team. I don't, as well, maybe when Mason Mount's back fit, because Kobbie Mainoo's taken Mason Mount's spot in that deeper area.
Yeah.
He's not coming in for that. And I'd like to see it, Kobbie and Mount, if Casemiro doesn't kind of find proper form, but that also just seems really risky. So it'd be interesting if he does get fit and plays a few games like he was earlier in the season, maybe drop Bruno for a couple games, see how that works.
And that just about wraps up episode 5 of What the Devil. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, let us know if there's anything else you want us to add next time. Remember, the podcast is available on both Spotify and Apple Music. The links to both are in the description below. Make sure you tune in next week because we've got a fun special guest that I think you're not really expecting. See you then.